Hey Tom, welcome to the 2019 OEC golf event. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through, put you back in your dress position, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. Some things we want to pay attention to from this vantage point is your address position, your backswing coil, the stability in your lower left side, wrist hinge, your impact position, and your follow through. So while we got you back in your address position, let's just take a look at a few things here for you. So ball position should be forward in the stance. So we can see that the ball location can definitely move a little bit more forward to get a little closer up towards your left heel. Next thing we want to observe, and this can be a little bit difficult to see, has to do with the setting up of your club head. Right now it looks like the back sole of your driver is a little bit off the ground and you're leaning the leading edge on the ground, so you're de-lofting the club a bit. What you want to do is you want to rest the back sole of the driver on the ground to maintain the loft, and if you did that, what would happen is the shaft of the golf club should not be leaning forward. Right now the shaft of your golf club is leaning forward at 82 degrees of a 90-degree line. That's how iron should look. So when a shaft leans forward of the club head, because the hossel's designed that way and that's how the club's engineered, that would mean that the golf club has the ability to try and work down and trap the ball and take divots. Okay? So you don't want a driver to set up like that, because we want our driver to sweep the ball off the ground or off the tee. So at this point in time, if the driver was resting on its back sole, the loft would be maintained, but then the shaft of the golf club should be sort of working up maybe a degree back of 90. Okay? So at that point in time, let's look at where this is where your hands should be located. So your entire body position would need to change. We would obviously bring your right foot over to here. We'd bring your left foot over to here, and that would position us in a completely different location, where now our right arm would be located here, hopefully straighter with the golf club than what we're seeing with you. We'd have a shoulder incline. This arm would come down to the golf club, and we'd be in a completely different position. So look at the triangular formation of where your arms are, the ball location, and how the shaft of the golf club is leaning. So we definitely need to revise how we're setting up to the golf ball, because what we can also see here is that the arms are very broken down with the golf club. Okay? So we'd like to get those arms straighter. So want to get the arms straighter, redefined, get the ball a little bit more forward in the stance, rest the sole of the club on its back sole so the shaft of the club can angle backwards, and then in that way, at that point in time, we can launch this ball off the tee and hopefully sweep it better. So as we go ahead and take a look at your golf swing, let's just do a little split screen comparison here, and we'll bring up a model swing. Let me just clear everything off the screen here. We'll bring up a model swing of Brooke Henderson, and we'll flip her over to left-handed to mirror image you. So hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. You can see her ball's more forward in her stance, shaft's leaning backwards because the back sole of the driver's resting on the ground. Right? Her arms are redefined. Look how much straighter her right arm is with the golf club. Definitely no shaft lean with the driver though. Okay? So I'm just a little concerned you're going to be hitting down with the driver because of that shaft lean. And then also what's happening is you're de-lofting the golf club. At this point in time, just going to put a couple lines on the screen. Now we do see that your leg sort of buckles out a little. So at address, what we would want to do with you with your legs is we want you to sort of feel like you're playing goalie a little, where we pop the knees in a little bit, okay? To stabilize that lower left side like we see with Brooke Henderson. The other thing we can see here is just going to draw a circle around the head and just sort of get a sense of what the motion does. So from this vantage point, what are we looking for? Well, we want to draw the golf club back with good shoulder rotation, arm extension, Start to establish some wrist hinge and do all that about a very, very, very stable lower left side. Oops, sorry. Want to take a look at Brooke Henderson first. So as we're drawing that golf club back, we're turning the shoulders, we're extending the arms, and we're doing all this about a very stable left leg. The other thing we can see is that through this point in the golf swing, we're already starting to establish some good leverage or wrist hinge. Okay? Let's go ahead and watch you take the golf club back to that same location. So you forward press your hands even more. Look at the shaft lean on the golf club. Okay? So this is definitely going to tell us that you know, on occasion you're going to be hitting too much down on the golf ball for sure. Continue to move back. A lot of hand movement. Look how far the club's traveled, but yet your hands haven't moved back at all. So a lot of independent hand activity. When we finally get to here, we like the fact that you've created some wrist hinge, but there's no arm extension with your hands and arms outside your left side or your left foot due to the fact that the majority of your backswing has been acquired through just hand activity and wrist hinge instead of creating also some arm extension. Lower left side looks good. Head could have moved back out of the circle a little, because what we notice is that with Brooke, her head's moved a little bit back, which is fine as long as the lower body doesn't create any lateral motion in this direction. From here, as we complete the backswing, all we want to do now is we want to complete the turn with our shoulders. Again, about that lower stable left side. We now want to maximize our wrist hinge. So look how acute that is between her lead forearm. And again, we do this all about maintaining the stability in that lower left leg. So solid turn, good wrist hinge, stable lower left side. Those are the three primary things we need, and the fourth is maintaining that arm extension. So with you, as we go to the top of the backswing here, you maximize your wrist hinge. That's fantastic. So we get a pretty decent acute position between the club shaft and the arm. We see that your lower left side buckles out, so we do have lateral motion and a breakdown in the lower leg. And the other thing is you keep your head right in that circle. So what happens is your upper body's leaning to the target. So you have two sways. Your lower body sways away from the target, while your upper body sways to the target. Okay? So what we need to do is we need to establish a better face, what I refer to as a face-on view load. And what that means is if I go ahead and draw a line up from the outside of Brooke's back foot, there was a red line already along her leg. I refer to this as a power V. Well, let's draw a 90-degree line up from her hip and another line along her back. Well, guess what we got? We got the exact same power V. So this means that we're loaded in a really good position. Our lower body's stabled to the target. Upper body is getting behind the golf ball and a little bit away from the target. What's happening with you? Your lower body's breaking through your lower body power V, while your upper body's breaking through your upper body power V. Okay? So there are no power V's there because obviously if we draw a line up 90 degrees, right, your leg's already broken through that blue line. If I draw a line up from here, well, there's no motion in behind the golf ball. So there's no power V's here, and that's something we'd like to learn how to achieve in the golf swing. As we create our downswing, simply what needs to happen here is we want to take our weight from being stored on that left side, and we want to drive it to the right. We want to fire the knees and the hips to the target with lateral motion and uncoiling. We want the upper body to obviously uncoil and the hands to fire the golf club through. So this is our action. Therefore, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Now, I deleted everything on the screen, so I'm going to put a circle up on the screen here, and we know that her head had moved a little bit back to begin with, right, which was fine. But I want to watch and see what that head does as it moves into impact. But I also want to pay attention to the lower left side. Watch the explosion, how she posts up onto a nice tall right leg. So at point of impact here, we can see her right leg is completely posted up. The other thing we see is that her weight's moving to her right side even though her right foot's coming off the ground, just because she's got such a great explosion to the golf ball, and what's happening is she's coming off of her left heel. While she creates this drive to the target and this explosion, this posting up into her right side, what happens with her head? It moves backwards. That's the reactional movement to everything driving to the target, all those yellow arrows. So we have to have a reaction move. So feet, knees, hips, core, hands, firing to yellow, to the target, head snaps backwards through impact. With you as we drive back into the golf ball, good footwork, good knee work, got some drive there with the lower body, hands are firing, uncoiling. Looks like your head snapping backwards as the hands are bringing the club to the ball, so that looks great. But there we are hitting down on the golf ball. So let's back that up. Look before the golf ball. Now watch all the turf being pulled up. Okay, so you're hitting down on the ball. I'd mentioned right from the get-go that you're probably going to hit down on the golf ball, or you're going to hit down on the golf ball sometimes. Reason for that is because that's how you position the club shaft right from the beginning. You positioned it like an iron, where we want to descend and trap, right? The grip was leaning forward. We had shaft lean. And when we have that shaft lean, it's going to want to allow the club to drive down. We also had the back sole off the ground. That put a little bit more of the leading edge on the ground, tells the leading edge it wants to get into the ground. So again, if we refine that starting position, ball a little bit more forward, club resting on its back sole, create a little bit of shaft lean going backwards, not forwards, we can sweep the ball better. As we keep on coming through, all we want to happen now is we want that left heel to come up off the ground, get up on the toe of the left foot, and that gets all our weight to our right side and allows the hips and shoulders to fully rotate through the golf shot. With you, let's see what happens here on the way through. Good footwork, driving through, excellent athletic ability through your finish. So for sure, some of the nicest stuff in your golf swing is definitely how you swing back into the golf ball from the top of your backswing. So some really good athletic qualities there. You get that golf club back, your hands work well. They come back, they fire through. You've got great footwork that allows you to get through to a good finish. You've got coil, you've got uncoil. You obviously could turn a little bit more. But most importantly is we do have to change how you set up to the golf ball with the driver. Very important. Then ideally, we would like how to learn how to load the golf club from this vantage point, where we're stabilizing our lower left side better and getting our upper body behind the golf ball better, establishing those power Vs. Okay? So improve your foundation, the structure of how you're set up, and the thing you need to understand is that there's fundamental guidelines for every aspect of the game. So we got putting, we've got chipping, we've got irons full swings, we've got wood full swings, we've got bunker play. In each one of those areas, there are fundamental structures how we need to set up to the ball to have success. If we don't apply certain fundamentals that are specific to each area of that sport, we can't be successful in those areas. Okay, so you can't be a good putter if you're not applying certain fundamentals that apply to putting. You can't be a good bunker player if you don't apply certain fundamentals that apply to a bunker shot, etc., etc., etc. So we're looking at your driver, you're not applying certain fundamentals that apply to a driver. So it makes it a little difficult to be consistent. Okay? Anyways, I hope you had a great day. I hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing from this vantage point this year. And if at any point in time you ever want to work on any of these aspects, I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. Be happy to structure a program for you. And also if you're involved in any golf tournaments and you guys are looking for a unique gift to provide to your guests, touch base and be happy to discuss those services. Anyways, again, hope you had a great day and hope you get a little bit more time here in the fall to play a little bit more golf. Take care.